Now, as you guys can tell, I was extremely happy to see Rox D Xebec's face reveal and just more lore about this character. But what frustrated me again is Mihawk fans putting him into another situation where he has no reason to be. What I mean by that is they just automatically start saying, okay, Rox is a swordsman, Mihawk's the world's greatest swordsman, and Mihawk is above Rox D Xebec. And if I'm being completely honest, I'm like, where did this even Mihawk wasn't even mentioned in the last 2 chapters. Like what is going on? Why are we talking about Mihawk right now? Like, don't get me wrong, I'm a Mihawk fan. Like I've said before, years ago, like 2016, 2017, back in the days, I've said Mihawk to me was always like a top 7 strongest characters. This is back in the days when there wasn't like that many characters revealed to be that strong. So my top 7 back in the days was, of course, not in any order, but Shanks, Monkey D. Dragon, Blackbeard, Kaido, Big Mom, Akainu, and Mihawk. Yes, so Shanks, Blackbeard, Kaido, Big Mom were the Yonko for, Akainu was the Admiral, Dragon was revolutionary, and Mihawk was the world's greatest swordsman. I felt like these 7 were just the elite of the elite. Of course, time has changed. Many new characters have been revealed. Many power scalings have been done. So things are not exactly how they were back in the days. But I've always given Mihawk his flowers. But there's something that just pisses me off because it's like the Zoro thing where everyone's like, yo, Zoro's gonna defeat Kaido in Wano. Like that was just so dumb to me. And we saw Zoro didn't even knock down Kaido in Wano. Yeah, he scarred him, but he even knocked down Kaido. If fans were like, yo, Zoro's gonna scar Kaido, Zoro's gonna have a moment against Kaido, I wouldn't be upset. But when you go to the extra level to give Zoro a crazy feat, when we know that Luffy and Kaido's been built up since Punk Hazard, guys, like Luffy's been trying to take down the Yonkos since Fishman Island. He said it, he's trying to take down Big Mom. Like Yonkos have always been Luffy's target. So to give Zoro that, like I just didn't understand it. But it's something similar is going on with this whole Mihawk Rox thing. And I thought today I would actually discuss it. I would actually take it serious. I know a lot of people are not taking it serious when it comes to the fandom, but I'm gonna take it serious when it comes to Mihawk versus Rox. Like, and I'm gonna be completely honest, I'm not gonna BS you guys. So like this video, subscribe to the channel, turn on notification. Some banger content's on the way. I'm just giving some reactionary content right now until I drop the bangers, which is going to be intense, guys. So yes, definitely support the channel. Now there are some things that are going for Mihawk that like you can't deny, even if you don't like Mihawk, like even if you're one of those Shanks fans who just hate Mihawk. Listen guys, you have to keep it real. Mihawk is the world's greatest swordsman and he's the top of his class. Just look at characters like Zoro and King going at it in Wano. Look how strong those characters were. We already know it's been confirmed that Mihawk is above that. So we already knew that Mihawk was a top tier, minimum Admiral level, but I've always given him that Yonko level status for my own personal reasons. So his title of world's greatest swordsman needs to be respected. The fact that Pirate's main weapon in the real life world were swords, you gotta respect that Mihawk is in this fictional story the top swordsman. It's like that title, you cannot really shit on it. Another reason why Mihawk gets my respect is the way he treated the current strongest hockey user in the story in Red Hair Shanks. Well, current strongest pirate hockey user in the story in Shanks. And the reason why this is so cool is because he pretty much says, Shanks, you have one arm. You're not that powerful anymore. Like, I don't want to fight you. That's what Mihawk is telling Shanks early on in the East Blue saga. And the fact that Mihawk said that, it shows that Mihawk has to have a lot of respect for his own ability and power. So I had to give Mihawk a respect there. And Shanks is no joke, guys. We've seen what Shanks has been doing lately, guys. Like, pre-time skip, he was stopping the war, and that was cool and all. But post-time skip, ever since Wando ended, guys, he went to Wando and made an admiral pretty much not want to fight, concede, by not even being on the island, just using his Conqueror's Haki. And then, of course, we saw what he did to Eustace Kid. 10 seconds into the future. Then Conqueror's Haki coding to one-shot him and his Vice Captain Killer. Insane, guys. Like, you gotta understand that. And then Dorian Broggy comparing Shanks' Haki to Joy Boy's Blast Haki in Egghead Island. Like, there's so many things. Even taking down Loki, seeing how strong King Harold was, clashing with Rox D Xebec, and then seeing his son Loki, who has an ancient legendary or whatever. He has a crazy legendary Delph-Fruit, a crazy Conqueror's Haki coding because he fought the Holy Knights before. And that's what they want, and their Holy Knights are recruiting him to join them. He's incredibly powerful. He's an ancient giant blood race too as well. Incredibly strong. And Ragnar Hammer that can cause lightning, and just it's insane, this aura in Loki. And yeah, he lost to Shanks. He lost to Shanks. So yeah, Shanks has a lot going for him, if I'm being completely honest, guys. Like, you can't deny that. And the fact that Mihawk disrespected that guy, it's like, okay, Mihawk has something going for him too. I know people don't like that because they feel like it's Mihawk stealing the clout of Shanks, like the aura of Shanks. He hasn't done nothing, but since Shanks is doing something, it automatically upscales Mihawk. But that is a thing in the story. We can't just take a blind eye to it. Now, another reason why Mihawk, I think probably the best reason, which was a lot of people are been discussing lately, not as much back in the days. Back in the days, a lot of people really didn't discuss this, but now it's getting more prevalent. His black blade. Mihawk having a black blade, the only black blade from a current alive fighter in the One Piece story, is pretty cool. Because we know back in the days, Ryuma, who was considered the sword god in Wano, had a black blade in Shisui. So definitely the peak swordsmanship, you need to have a black blade, and I think Zoro should have 3 black blades. It'll just be epic. But look at Roger. Look at Rox, look at Shiki, look at Rayleigh, look at Odin. Odin, one of the greatest samurai I've ever seen, and from Wano, how strong he was, and he didn't have a black blade. Look at Figurine Garling, look at Venus Juro, and look at Shanks. They never had a black blade. Now, a lot of these characters, in my personal opinion, don't really rely on what it takes to be having a black blade. I think having a black blade is an armored hockey thing, and I think a lot of these characters are more Kankazaki coding focused, if I'm being completely honest. But still, I think this is definitely something that goes for Mihawk as a W. The fact that he is the only one with a black blade, past and present, other than Ryuma, is pretty cool. And then, of course, his moniker. Mihawk was known, before he became a warlord, he was known as the Marine Hunter. Now, for you to be known as a Marine Hunter, you need to have been able to take out a very significant Marine, in my opinion. And we know they kind of hinted at that. When it comes to Zephyr in that movie film Z, they kind of hinted at a warlord taking down Zeph, who was an admiral. Like, they hinted at like a warlord doing that. They kind of hinted at Fujitora and him having some beef with a warlord in the past. Of course, and we don't know Fujitora is a swordsman. Him running into Mihawk would be interesting. Of course, he wasn't a Marine at the time, but I think that his Marine Hunter moniker is cool. It would really highlight why other pirates don't really put him in that crazy regard. It looks like Mihawk really has this beef with Marines and that side more so than pirates. And why does he have beef with Marines more than pirates? Does it have to do with something to do with the world government, Emu, perhaps? I'm not too sure. And then, of course, I have to mention as well the final thing that's going for Mihawk. I think one of the greatest things going for Mihawk, which people don't like to talk about lately, is bounty. His bounty is 3.5 billion, I believe, close to 3.6 billion berries. That's one of the highest bounties we've ever seen in the One Piece story. The only characters that have a higher bounty are the Yonko. We know Shanks, we know Blackbeard currently, we know Kaido and Big Mom, and we know, of course, Whitebeard and Roger. But these are a lot of characters who are just older than Mihawk. Let's be honest here. Whitebeard, Big Mom, Kaido, they're older than Mihawk. Shanks is the only one around Mihawk's age. But Shanks recently became a Yonko recently, and his bounty is only like 400 billion more than Mihawk, if I'm being honest. Blackbeard too as well. But he recently just got a higher bounty. When Blackbeard became a Yonko, it was like only like around 2 billion berries. Now that he's a Yonko, it's around 3.9. Like, it's only 300 billion berries more than Mihawk. And then I think the biggest thing is that his Captain Buggy, who became a Yonko recently as well, his bounty is around 3.1 billion. Look at Luffy. His bounty, he's a Yonko as well, and he's a 3 billion berry bounty sharing with the Eustace Kid and Law. So definitely shows that they really regard Mihawk in high regards. Even like Randy even mentioning how his swordsmanship skills above Shanks, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later, so I'm not going to go too in depth right now. But still, his bounty definitely something that goes for Mihawk being one of the strongest characters in the story. We can't deny that. But just how there's things going for Mihawk being one of the strongest characters in the series, we can't turn a blind eye to those things that make him not one of the strongest characters in the series. Like his clash with Crocodile. Yes, I know Crocodile is not Alabasta level. He's way stronger than what he's shown in Alabasta. Oda just needed Luffy to win that battle. But still, clashing with Crocodile and not overpowering him. Like, in that same arc, we had Jozu making Crocodile bleed. I know it was a sneak shot, but still, I honestly believe, I don't really know if it was a sneak shot, it's more so, yeah, I think it was, because he was fighting, of course, Doflamingo, but still, I think that was pretty cool how Jozu did that to Crocodile, and then we see Mihawk clashing with him. I'm like, what? Like, my logic wasn't logicking in that moment. So yeah, there is some things negative for Mihawk, and Marineford was one of those arcs. But the main thing people want to mention is Vista. Vista, don't get me wrong, he's the strongest swordsman on the Whitebeard powers other than Kozuki Yoden. Like, he's incredibly powerful. But Vista doing that to Mihawk, where he's clashing with him and then they have to stalemate and fight again later, that's pretty insane. Now, Mihawk knew Vista's name, and Vista is like a legit powerful swordsman. He's a top young commander level character. But think about this, guys. Like, we seen with Queen and Big Mom, like, top young commanders are not supposed to even be close to Yonko level characters. So Mihawk having that little 1-2 spat with Vista, yeah, that was kind of a head scratcher, and definitely went a negative into Mihawk being one of the strongest characters in the series. And then there's Whitebeard moment. Whitebeard's old, he's sick, he's a legend, of course. His reputation definitely was standing tall. But Mihawk saying he wants to see the distance between them and Whitebeard. Now, some people are like, yo, he's talking about the actual literal distance between Whitebeard. No, he's not talking about that. Mihawk is talking in an abstract form here. He's not talking literal. He's talking more so the distance of the world's strongest man and the rest of everyone else. Like, the Whitebeard was regarded as a top dog. And definitely made me think, if you're talking about Whitebeard like that, imagine what would you be talking about Roger and Rox like? Because we know Roger and Rox are above Whitebeard. Not a lot by a lot. I think Roger and Rox are like slightly above Whitebeard, but still. If you're talking about Whitebeard like that, and Whitebeard was old and sick, imagine his prime, how strong Whitebeard was. Another thing that makes me think Mihawk is not that guy of like strongest of all time, like that fans are trying to convince us. Like, no, it's not the case. And then Marineford again, I'm like, I tell you, Marineford was definitely a bad PR moment for Mihawk, because when he's fighting pre-time skip Luffy and he's not destroying him. Now, Luffy wasn't visibly trying to fight Mihawk. He was trying to low-key avoid Mihawk because he knows how strong he is. So Luffy trying to avoid someone, it's different. Like, usually when Luffy tries to fight someone like Kaido, when Luffy in his Gear 4th form off of a category win tries to fight Kaido, he gets one-shotted. But that's because he's trying to defeat a Yonko level character. Luffy's not trying to, if Luffy was trying to defeat Mihawk, a Yonko level character, his arms would have been cut off free time skip and he would have been in agony and Mihawk would have just killed him instantly. Because Luffy without his arms, a brawler without his arms. Yes, he can still fight with his legs, but a lot of momentum, a lot of balance gone. Yeah, he's definitely taking the L, and he's getting more hurt by Mihawk than Kaido because Mihawk is permanently injuring him. Like, he's not going to be able to get back up and fight again. Like, once he loses his arms, he's nerfed. But Kaido just knocked him out. So definitely, I'm going to defend Mihawk in this case, but people do still, regardless, that's all coped, and they feel like, yeah, there's a negative moment for Mihawk. Now, of course, I'm going to move away from Marineford, and the final negative moment for Mihawk when it comes to how strong he is actually has to do with Rox, and it's the top 5 of Kaido. Kaido had Rox D. Xebec in there, his former captain. He had his former crewmate Whitebeard in there. He had, of course, the Pirate King Goldie Roger, and he had his fellow Yonko Shanks, while also having Kozuki Oden, the strongest samurai of Wano. But he didn't have Mihawk. Now, if you can't tell, there's 4 swordsmen in that top 5 list, and there's a guy with a supreme grade in Whitebeard, and Mihawk is not in that list. That is insane. Like, when it comes to guys capable of fighting Kaido, you think Mihawk would be on that list? Like, Zoro scarred him, and we know Mihawk is stronger than that Zoro that scarred Kaido. So I'm telling you guys right now, maybe how I defend Mihawk is that he hasn't really gone toe-to-toe with Kaido. They haven't run into each other yet. But still, I think that there's a lot of question marks, negative moments for his PR when it comes to Mihawk. Like, are you legitimate, that guy, or are you just, how to say, strong, like Yonko, Admiral level, but not like insane how the fans are trying to prop him up to be? Now, when it comes to Rox, let's be honest here. These last couple moments, they really hyped up his power. Him killing an Admiral was insane. We have Mihawk the Marine Hunter, but we have Rox the Admiral Killer, guys. And you know how hard it is to kill an Admiral? Like, just look at the weakest admirals in Fujitora and Green Bull, how OP their Delve Roots are. With, like, Green Bull's tanking Kankazaki Koden from Yamato. Fujitora is literally toying with Sabo and Dressrosa, a very strong hockey user who got a Mirror no Mi as well. Like, these guys are pretty strong, and they're the weakest animals I know. Then we have Kizaru and Aokiji. Aokiji, we saw what Aokiji did to Garp. We saw what Kizaru was doing against Luffy. These guys are incredibly powerful. And that's what Rox killed. He killed an Admiral, guys. Like, even Marineford, like, Aokiji is the one that... Aokiji had the most damage, of course, the blood from a weaker guy when it comes to Jozu. But Akainu got, of course, mollywopped by Whitebeard as well, too. But none of them died, guys. None of them died. So, for Rox to kill an Admiral, Like, you think Marineford would be the perfect place to kill an animal, but no, Rox killed it during the reverie. That is insane. They need emergency aid on him, and the animal still died, guys. So that just says all you need to know about Rox's power. Also, Rox D Xebec, they said he's a swordsman, of course, that had Whitebeard, Shiki, Big Mom in their prime, all under him. That lineup beats Roger when it comes to Rayleigh and Gabon. It beats Shanks when it comes to Ben Beckman, Lucky Roo, and Yaslov. And it beats Luffy when it comes to Zoro, Sanji, and Jinbei, guys. Rox with Whitebeard, Shiki, and Big Mom as his top commanders. I've never seen a stronger lineup because of how much I respect Prime Whitebeard. Like, Prime Whitebeard, if he was in that captain spot, I look at him as insane just as if I look at Rox. Then, of course, we have Shikyu, who we know what Shiki did. He destroyed half Marineford, and Garp and Sengoku had to team up to take him down. Shiki's powerful, yo. Then we have Big Mom in her prime when she was faster. And we saw what she was doing in Wano Hokage. Imagine when she's faster and younger. Like, no, Big Mom is incredibly powerful as well, and she's the weakest out of those four. Yes. Roxy Bex being the leader of that group says all you need to know about how strong his strength was. And then, of course, God Valley, of course, when it comes to Garp and Roger teaming up versus him, and Sengoku calling him the greatest rival to Roger, when Whitebeard exists, when Garp exists, says all you need to know about how strong Rox is. Physical strength and hockey strength, honestly, there's no way I can put him a Mihawk's hockey and physical strength above Rox. So yes, Mihawk's swordsmanship skill could be better than Rox because he's the world's greatest swordsman, but that strength, physical strength, and that hockey, and we know Okada said hockey transcends all. Come on, guys, bro, we gotta think about this. Also, I want to talk about Roger versus Odin. Like, Roger, who's a swordsman, ran into the strongest samurai in Odin, and pretty much with one divine departure had Odin sent all the way back to the trees and had to sit it out because Whitebeard had to take and get involved. And Rox is stronger than Whitebeard, or like same level minimum as Whitebeard. Yeah, and he's a swordsman. Yeah, and Roger's a swordsman too, who uses hockey only. Yeah, and no Delfruit. You're trying to tell me that Mihawk is stronger than Roger and Rox? Yeah, guys, I cannot go with that. Like, I think Roger and Odin kind of was a similar. Like, you probably would see something similar if Roger and Mihawk fought, guys. Maybe Mihawk is a little bit stronger than Odin, but still, he's still struggling against the Pirate King. And of course, they said Rox had unique swordsmanship style. It was not conventional. Like, he fought with, like, he had a cannon or a hammer. It kind of reminds me of King and Wano, but I think it's a little bit different because it's a raw. At least he's using a raw sword. But yeah, the fact that his swordsmanship was unique, a lot of people are like, oh, he's a swordsman. Okay, that means Mihawk is stronger than him. First of all, Mihawk didn't even exist at this time. First of all, and then if Mihawk actually saw Rox fighting like with a hammer or cannon sword style, I think Mihawk would laugh at him and say, this is sloppy skill. But the brute power would be too much still. Mihawk would be like, your brute power is still too much. And in that case, is Rox's swordsmanship skill, if he beats him with that hammer and cannon like swordsmanship, do you still consider his skill better than Mihawk, the world's greatest swordsman, when he's doing fine and very clear cutting attacks that are like renowned? No, you'll still think Mihawk's swordsmanship skill was better, but Rox's brute strength and hockey just overpowered it. That's how I look at it, guys. Like, it's not that hard. It's not that complicated. People need to respect that. If Mihawk was stronger than Rox, why not just have Brand New say he was stronger than Shanks and the Legends of the Past? Why does Brand New say he has a greater sword skill than Shanks? Leaving it to a vague, because if he's the world's greatest swordsman, why don't you just say, oh, Shanks is a swordsman too and he's stronger than Shanks? Like, why just make it direct? I'm sorry, boys that are like Mihawk's fans and everything, but he's not that guy. Until he shows me something at least Yonko level, like, the only reason I respect him is because there's a lot of narrative that show that Mihawk is Yonko level, but it's been so long, he hasn't shown me nothing, guys. I say the same thing about Monkey D. Dragon. Yes, I think Monkey D. Dragon is Yonko level. I think he's actually stronger than Yonko level. I think Monkey D. Dragon actually has more hype than Mihawk. But at the end of the day, guys, when it comes to power, you gotta show me something. Even Dragon has to show me something. So I'm not gonna give Mihawk grace until he shows me something. Guys like Rox, guys like Roger are way above him in my opinion. And when it comes to Shanks, you guys all know my thoughts on Shanks. You can go click a search up that video, guys, because yeah, you know how I feel about that, guys. So yeah, when it comes to Mihawk, I thought I would take it serious because people have been going crazy and the fan base are going crazy and they're starting to convert people. Mihawk fans are starting to convert people into the whole Mihawk is the strongest character. And I can't let that go. Yes, I've been taking breaks, but it's time to humble these Mihawk fans. And if you don't agree with me, go in the comment section and destroy me. But I'm telling you guys right now, I feel like a lot of the fans who want to use their brain and know that Mihawk is not the strongest, like, they just don't know how to like argue in a sense. I will argue it for you guys. I will easily argue it for you guys, and bring on the guys who are Mihawk fans. Yo, I'll take them on, guys. I'm not scared because I love Mihawk as a character, but at the end of the day, the truth's the truth, and I only care about the cold hard truth.